welcome to another day in the Matrix, waters above crypto. I'm sending you all love and high vibrations. We're getting a lot of green in this market lately, just as anticipated for this month. I've been preparing everyone to expect new all-time highs in Bitcoin before the end of this month leading into November. We still have 17 days left in this month, and a lot can happen since we're only 11% away from the current all-time high. So in today's video, I'm going to dive into the charts of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Xrp to give my short-term analysis as we move closer to this month's full moon, and of course start out with a little Gematria decode to kick things off. So if you're new here, we do cryptocurrency technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, numerology, and astrology to understand these markets. Feel free to subscribe and turn on the bell notification to stay updated on when new videos come out. And make sure to give this video a like and share this channel with other conscious people to help grow this community. And for those of you that want to learn how to do technical analysis and combine it with Gematria, you can join my Mastermind course. My email is in the description box to get in contact with me for access to the course. And with that being said, let's take the red pill. So, this date right here is the upcoming full moon on October 20th, 2021. And for those of you that are new to my channel, I've been using the lunar cycle to be able to determine the energy of the market. And around a new moon, we typically see bullish price action. And around a full moon, we typically see bearish price action. And in my last video, I was essentially letting everyone know that I was anticipating this current month of October to be a little bit more like February of 2021, where we saw that the new moon actually had bullish energy extended up to 10 days after that new moon. Now, the new moon this month was the 6th of October, and today is the 14th of October, and we've actually just hit another new microcycle high for Bitcoin, somewhere around 58K. Now, that is almost identical to what we saw back in February, and this move now would give us till about the 16th of October to have an exact replica of what happened in February. Another significance was Mercury retrograde back in the January-February timeframe, which is also something that we are experiencing currently. So again, a lot more confidence into how this astrological energy moves this market. So anywho, just wanted to start that out because I've had a lot of new people join, around 21,000 subscribers now. I appreciate all of you, sending you all love. And we have this date adding up numerologically to 8. But what I'm a lot more interested in is the following day, which is giving me the 9. And this 9, of course, comes back to Bitcoin with the ticker symbol BTC, and we're getting the 9 in Chaldean. And we have one other thing to consider here, which is this day, the 21st. When we add it up the way that I like to add it up, it is 10 plus 21 plus 20 plus 21, and that gives us the 72. So it's the same date, just added up in a different way. And that 72 could, of course, be found in Bitcoin in the English ordinal cipher. So we could see 72, and this same date added up gives us the 72 and also the 9, just like I showed you before. So this is really interesting to see how this all plays out. It is also 44 days since the start of Shemitah. So for those of you that are new here, we've been using the Hebrew calendar to determine some big changes in the market. We just entered Shemitah on Rosh Hashanah of 2021, which is this date right here of September 7th. And you can see this gives us 44 days in between. And anytime we're getting those double numbers, those master numbers, they are very powerful. So I'm interested in this date because of all the connections. Another way you could do the date numerology is as such: 10 plus 21 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1, giving us 36. And of course, that's our full reduction for Bitcoin as well. And the 72 and the 36 also reduce down to 9, just like the date numerology. This would be the day after the full moon. So it's definitely something to consider. So one other thing that's pretty important as well is the day before will actually leave 72 days in the year. So the day of the full moon gives you 72 days remaining in the year. This number 72 is very important as we transition closer to this upcoming full moon. Another thing that's really interesting is this day of the 21st is a Thursday, as you can see right here. And Thursday, or Thor's Day, is the day of Jupiter. And Jupiter has a direct connection to Bitcoin. So we know that this is the day of Jupiter. And with Jupiter, like we were mentioning with the 72, well, we get the 27. And of course, that is the mirror of the 72 number. With Jupiter, we also have the 36 and the 45 connection back to Bitcoin in the same exact ciphers. So it's very powerful to see that Bitcoin is tied to these big astrological energies. And we could keep going. There's so much to say here. So when we're considering this date of the 18th, which is a couple days sooner, we have a big significance for Rosh Hashanah, where we have adding Rosh Hashanah up to this date. It gives us 1 month and 11 days. So this is a couple days before that full moon. And when you're looking at this number of the 111, it always reminds me of New York. And why is New York so significant? Well, it's where the New York Stock Exchange is, and it is where the energy of this stock market globally emits from. That Taurus bull that is in Wall Street tells everything. So when you're studying the way this market actually operates financially, it is all about New York, it is all about Washington, D.C., the city of London, and the Vatican. And this 111 and 33 connection is amazing because we are the difference of days being 1 month and 11 days, the 111, and then the date numerology of the 18th of October adding up to 69. And that's 69, of course, coming back to Saturn right here. Another thing is you can see that date adding up to 33. And with that New York, we're getting that 33. So we get the 33 and the 111 connection in the same date. It's absolutely amazing how this all ties together. And of course, with that date coming back to Saturn with that 69 connection, as you can see right there, this is where it gets really interesting because 10/18/2021, the 18th of this month, is the start of the 42nd week of the year. So it's the first day of the 42nd week of the year. And of course, we have that 42 in Saturn, and Saturn is Satoshi Nakamoto, and we could see that with the 181, which comes back to the 42nd prime number. So this is all around this upcoming full moon. This full moon date energy should be starting very soon, probably as we transition out of the 41st week of the year into the 42nd week of the year. So the 18th of October, absolutely important, and then throughout pretty much this entire 42nd week. Why? Because that number 42 comes back to Saturn, and the people who are running this show are definitely worshiping the cult of Saturn, and it's these guys. So let's move on to the analysis. One thing to bring up right away is Bitcoin has made a new microcycle high. So that means in our current microcycle, we've actually put in a new higher high. But one thing to mention is we have highs coming back to around May 9th, May 10th, sitting slightly under $60,000, and we've yet to break those highs. So if we were to look at this based on trend, we have a high or an all-time high, then we have a lower high, and right now we still technically have a lower high from that high. So I'm just starting out with that because that's the TA. That's very important for everyone to understand. Another thing is we've had multiple closures above this 786 on the daily chart. And whenever we're getting multiple closures above the 786, or this is considered the golden pocket, that is very bullish. But that doesn't mean we're out of the weeds just yet, because this is cryptocurrency, and cryptocurrency is very volatile. So you can see we had one daily close on the 11th, and then another daily close on the 13th yesterday. And between that, we did have a little bit of a back test of the 702 fib. Why is the 702 fib so important? Well, in numerology, you'd be removing the 0, and then you get back to 72. And of course, that comes back to Bitcoin. So it's absolutely amazing how these numbers work. As you can see, Jesuit order, 72. We know who's running this show. Okay, so we've definitely been showing a nice support level on the 702. The only issue here is there's been no back tests of the 618. I'm not saying we need to back test that with 100% certainty, but I'm going to give you the TA so that you can know upside targets and downside targets regardless of what happens. I don't really care what happens between now and the end of the month, because historically in 2017 and in 2013, the two bull runs that Bitcoin had, it broke new all-time highs by the end of this month. And that's something that I've been saying for a while now. So as we move into November, it's pretty much the month of Bitcoin. When we get into November, that's a wrap for the altcoins. The altcoins are going to definitely be laying low for a little bit of time as we have a Bitcoin season. And then when we transition out of the new moon of December, which is around December 4th, we will enter what's called the alt season. And this all has to deal with this moon cycle. So from a technical perspective, this is looking pretty strong. But overall, when we're considering trend, we still have highs over here coming back to May 9th, May 10th, slightly around 60,000. And 60,000 is really a level that we haven't traded too much at. If I hold my cursor here and you look over to this price action, it's just a couple of days, maybe a total of 10 days trading above 60K. 60K would obviously be a psychological level. And the fact that we hit the 63K level, it doesn't surprise me, because again, Bitcoin comes back to 36 and everything in this market is reversed. As above, so below. Now, let's consider some of the macro timeframes. We have this chart right here where I have my fibs. I'm going to go ahead and just turn those off for a moment, and I'm going to bring up some of my moving averages. So we have right here, things are looking pretty damn good across the board. We have our 8 simple moving average crossing above the 55 simple moving average. That's the wolf cross. And we have right here, we can see there's definitely the 200 exponential moving average is starting to slope upwards. Whenever we see that moving average sloping upwards, especially the 200 simple moving average, that's a very good thing. Then we're anticipating a cross of these moving averages very soon. And once that 200 exponential crosses above the 200 simple moving average, that is a very, very good sign to get ready for blast off. So again, that's not financial advice. That's just me letting you know what I've seen happen time and time again with that indicator. Now, we have the 3-day chart is definitely something to consider here. And with the 3-day, we have a closure coming in tomorrow night, I believe, yes. And then we could see the 8 simple moving average is looking to cross above the 13 exponential moving average. That's a very good sign. When the 8 is above the 13, 21, 34, 55, that is all in bullish posture. And you can see, as I was just mentioning earlier, this light green moving average, the 200 exponential, is above the 200 simple. So that's bullish across the board as well. And now that it's sitting there at around that $32,000 level above the wick low bottoms back here in June, July, it's definitely telling me that these levels are never getting retested again. That's it. You know, from a technical perspective, this bottom wick right here, we should never trade below that level ever. And I'll give a little bit more evidence into why I'm almost feeling that we might never close below a $47,000 Bitcoin ever again in the history of Bitcoin. So that includes the future forever. Anyone who knows my analysis knows I'm extremely conservative. So whenever I'm saying these things, it's because I could back it up with proof. And also it's because I study these charts all day. Now, let's consider this 2-day chart because we do have some things going on. I think it closes tomorrow as well. Yes. And these moving averages are looking amazing. We have the 8 above the 13, 21, 34, and the 55. And you can see the 55 and the 200s are sloping upwards. That's a very good sign. The RSI right now is basically trying to get above that 70 level, but it's flatlining. That's actually kind of healthy. I don't like when Bitcoin just breaks out in a straight line. You know, we saw it happen over here where right as we transitioned through October, it just moved up in a straight line. That's very unhealthy. But again, this is crypto. And once October hits, October is just such a bullish month. And then also, of course, November. And you could see that right here as we transition through November into December, straight line breakout. So our MACD also looking very good on the 2-day. Let's get to the daily chart. Of course, I talked about the 200s at the bottom looking to cross very soon. MACD hovering above, kind of around that low. I think it hit 70 once. Yes, it did. So we did actually get to 70 a couple of times during this month around the new moon, showing some weakness as the price has gone up. It's definitely kind of making me feel like there's a slight divergence in the making, and retests on the lower 50,000 level are welcome. So let's consider where we can get retests. For one, we have the 2-day chart that I was just talking about, and we have our orange moving average right here, which is the 21 exponential moving average, sitting at 50K. because of 50K being such an important psychological level, this is making me feel that we might backtest this area, but I don't think we'll close below this 21 exponential on the 2-day ever. We'll just wick towards it, maybe go a little below it, but that's it. We'll probably recover within short order if we're even going to go that low. We might not go much lower than retesting the Rosh Hashanah highs. So anyone who knows TA, whenever you have previous highs in the structure and you've broken out above them, you like to see a backtest. And that backtest is really critical because it makes you feel as if that previous resistance is now flipped as a new support. So let's bring up our fibs and get a little bit more information here. You can see that the 618 is actually slightly lower than these previous levels around Rosh Hashanah. The 21 exponential has breached the golden pocket level. The 34 exponential is getting closer to the golden pocket. I mean, this is so bullish. I don't see how it would be possible to trade below 50K for too long. It's just the structure's too solid. And this 8 simple moving average, we've yet to have a daily close below it. So obviously, the first sign of a warning for a small pullback would be a daily close below the 8 simple moving average on the daily. Then you would expect the 702 fib to hold, considering that we've had we've had about 7 candles trading at that level as a support. That would be perfectly in line with the 13 exponential moving average. So again, perfect. And then we have our 21, which is always something we tend to revisit whenever we're in a bullish move. You can see it back here. When we broke out from the July lows, which were absolutely amazing bear trap. You know, this was an incredible bear trap. On this channel, when we were seeing those lows, we were so excited because it was obvious to me that it was a bear trap and we were going to have a relief rally all the way until September. That's exactly what happened. But if I was to turn off these other moving averages and just show you how the 21 reacts to this level, you're going to see we popped up above the orange moving average, back tested it, popped up above, essentially back tested it, popped up above, back tested it again. Okay, so this is just how it goes, and we've yet to backtest it since we've broken out again. Now, this is just something telling me that that's the level that we could keep trading here above 55K for a little bit of time and then still have this catch up to get above those highs in Rosh Hashanah. That'd be really, really crazy. But let's just revisit this area real quick, going back to last year. And you can see, once we broke out in October, we just kept holding this 13 moving average, had one back test on the 21 around November, even actually a small back test on the 34 exponential moving average, and then moved up. So for those of you that have been following me for a while or taken my mastermind course, you know I love to use Fibonacci numbers. So that's why I'm using 13, 21, 34, just so you know. And with this 21 not being back tested yet, it's not something I'm saying it needs to, but since it's at 51, 52K, that's kind of a sneeze from here. You know, that would just be a small little move to the downside, about 10%. And considering that we're getting closer to the full moon, it would not be weird for this moving average to get up slightly over the next, 4 days or so. And then we just back test that area, 53, 52K naturally. So the downside targets that I'm anticipating is anywhere around this 21 exponential moving average, but I do not believe we will be closing any dailies below it. And I don't think we will close below 48,000 ever again. So this level right here, I don't think we'll go lower than that. And if we do, it would be with a wick. It won't be with a daily close. I'm very adamant about a bullish sentiment at this time. I think we're just going to hold structure and not actually break these lows right here that are our higher lows. So we have low, higher low, and then now we're putting in definitely structure and reversal since we've broke these Rosh Hashanah highs. Now the only battle line we have is our upside targets, which would naturally be right over here around the May highs, 59,000. And then we could also consider the 888 fib, which is sitting around 60K. So just 60K to the upside would be the natural level, and downside, it would be this 1618 level, the golden pocket. So let's move on to Ethereum. So Ethereum, first things first, we have something really solid going on, which is we are getting close to that 786 fib. So when I zoom out, you'll see what's going on here. We have the swing high to swing low fib pull and we have had an incredible recovery off the full moon of July. And this move up here, definitely something that I mentioned to my community back when we were lower. I said to anticipate a secondary bull trap for Ethereum in October. And it's amazing how this structure is actually playing out similarly. And I was just saying, you know, there is opportunity for us to make a similar move that we did in September around the new moon, just slightly extended, and then still have some retests to the downside as we get towards the full moon. So in the previous bull run of 2017, Ethereum actually did come back down around the end of October, and stayed a little sideways moving into the end of November. By the end of November, it was at all-time highs. So it's just slightly behind Bitcoin. Bitcoin will most likely hit new all-time highs before the end of this month, transitioning into the November new moon, which is very early in the month of November. And then Ethereum will take a little bit longer into later November, and then Bitcoin will have its blow off top around early December. So what we're seeing right now is pretty strong for ETH across the board. Let's look at our moving averages really quickly since we've gone over our fibs. Yep, we got our wolf cross back here of the 8 above the 55. We can see that this 34, the red moving average, is starting to cross bullish above that 55, and these are all trading in the golden pocket. So they're all trading around that 618. That's telling me that we should at least retest 3,360, at least. And then any lower than that, I would be looking towards this trend line. So the reason why this trend line is important, I'll show you right now. Turn this off, put it back on log, and then I'm going to zoom out, and you're going to see how amazing this trend line is. It started during the pandemic crash, traded on it right around the same time last year, but that time last year, and then retested it during the bigger correction from all-time high down to July full moon. And now we've actually backtested pretty much within it again recently on the full moon of September. I would not be surprised if we got one little back test of it one last time before this just continues to the upside to new highs. So this trend line is pretty solid. I would definitely add it to your charts if you're somebody who's a heavy Ethereum holder and you want to know how this will affect the altcoins at large. If ETH wants to decide to, let's just say, come back down into the 21st of October to this trend line, that's an additional 20% pullback from where we are right now. That 20% is going to put a hurting on a lot of the smaller cap altcoins because Ethereum is the energy of the altcoin market. Again, Ethereum or Ether, when you study Greek mythology, you'll know that ether is the air that the gods breathe. So there's a lot to learn there if you're kind of new to the more esoteric side of this market. But that just is what it is. That's the red pill. So something to consider would be this trend line. And again, I'm not saying there will be a 19% pullback. I'm just giving you the levels. There's definitely some inverse head and shoulders thing going on right now that I could see with the left shoulder head, right shoulder in formation. It's possible. I'm not a huge pattern trader, to be completely honest, because it doesn't work that well when you're doing crypto. Crypto is very ritualized by the month that we're in, and I've proven that with this work, definitely. As we have certain months are absolutely bloody and some months are absolutely bullish, regardless of the patterns, regardless of the RSI or MACD. It's just kind of the way this market's manipulated. It's all on an algorithm, and that algorithm is ran by central banks. So I believe this is really all that needs to be said. If we're going to have any upside movement, it's going to be to the previous fractal right here around September 4th, upwards of the 888 fib. If we were to breach that 888 level, we are really damn close to the all-time high, so I don't think that's going to happen this time around. We're probably going to create a divergence of some sort. Yep. So you can see definitely an obvious high, lower high, lower high. Let me just leave that there, and you could see as I zoom out, an increase in price from the start of that being around 3,200. So we have a declining trend in RSI and an upward price movement. It's definitely a little fishy, something to consider for those of you that are more analytical. Retests of the golden pocket would be welcome. And if this wants to do this later into the month, that would naturally be aligned with this trend line. So let's go to the Xrp charts and finish this off. XRP extremely stagnant, stable. We called this lower move from the full moon of July around 51 cents, upwards of $1.40, and we're actually still kind of showing some weakness. So as of late, around the new moon, we saw a retest of the zero point 0.5 fib, which is ironically at 1234. $1.23, and we've shown holding strength on the 382 fib. That's completely normal. The 382 to 236 is the key level. At this time, I do not believe XRP will ever go below 86 cents ever again. That's probably it. Or actually, I'll redact that. Perhaps in the next bear market, there's an opportunity for XRP to go below that level. I know that sounds incredibly bearish, but it just determines how high XRP goes in this run. The higher XRP goes, if it enters $14 or $15, then it's most likely never going below $1 again. But if it was to only get to like $7 or $8, then of course, returning back to sub $1 is absolutely possible in a bear market. So something to just keep in mind here is I do believe we will have an uptrend maintaining. You don't have to get too fancy with any trend lines, but this could be a little important to consider this trend. Getting slightly below that 382 with wicks is welcome. And because XRP is so suppressed and it hasn't done really much of a dramatic move to the upside, it doesn't need to come down as violently with any pullbacks in Ethereum. So that's just a little side note. For coins that are really overheated that have already hit highs, they can absolutely pull back more. But for coins that have been lower and more suppressed, like XRP or Zilliqa, etc., they don't pull back as much. Now, one key thing to note is the wolf cross on the daily chart. We have the 8 above the 55. Let's go to the 2-day and check out our MACD, and that is looking bullish. So this is a time where any retests to the downside I'm bullish because that's a long opportunity. Again, not financial advice. The 3-day is probably going to cross really soon as well. So we can see they're pinching together. Histogram's going to flip green very soon. And that's another amazing indicator. And this is another nice thing to see. This cross here was prevented by bullish price action moving into October. That would have been a bearish cross in that scenario. So it's looking pretty solid. I mean, it's lacking volatility at this time, XRP, but we all know now from watching my work that we're probably not going to have a crazy move in XRP until the first week of December. So this can stay boring even longer than Ethereum. It could stay sideways for even longer. So it's something to consider. My upside targets would naturally be $1.23. If it breaches that, then you're naturally going to go to the golden pocket. But I do a little bit more downside biased at this time just because of the upcoming full moon. And I see this 200 simple moving average playing a role in that, which is in line with our trend line. So probably around $1, it's possible to retest that again with a wick. Daily closures below this trend line, I would just anticipate a move down to this 200 exponential moving average, but nothing lower than the 236, nothing lower than 86 cents for this month and the rest of this bull run. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's analysis and Gematria Decode. Tomorrow, I do plan on doing a live stream around 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've been really busy working on my upcoming advanced trading course, hoping to release that by the end of this month. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day in the Matrix. Much love.